A fisherman is seen sailing a boat in the sea as the film starts. A coffin was floating towards him with the biggest waves of the sea. Opening the coffin, he finds a dead lady and a baby who is still alive. That man catches that baby, taking pity on him. He takes the charge of that baby and gives him a name, Perseus. Now that baby was growing up. That man thinks, why did we live in another place, going there? Then he leaves with his family to explore a new location. They observe while passing away that some people are throwing a big statue into the sea. And that statue was of Zeus, who used to call himself a god of heaven. There is created a chaos in the seawater as that statue sinks into the sea. And many monsters begin to attack them, appearing from the sea. Then those creatures are united into one. It is looking like a black smoke. Actually, it was underworld god named Hades. Afterwards, he attacks that man's family. Consequently, his family is ended with the shipwreck. Fortunately, Perseus is survived. But it was his family for him. He says, after being dejected, I will avenge my family at any rate. Zeus wanted his worship. So he had made some statues so that his worship may continue. But people had started to perish his temples and statues. Now they had crossed the limits, which was going to increase the wrath of Zeus. They had thrown his statue into the seawater. Then it is witnessed that Hades and Zeus meet face to face. He had come from underworld. He says, it is the duty of human beings to worship us. So what are they doing? They are betraying us. Hades asks Zeus, I may create the fear among the people with my power if you command me. They have been strayed and they will begin to worship if I scare them at once. Zeus wished to tackle all affairs with peace. But he had also no another choice to tackle the human beings. So he permits Hades to do it. Then it is noticed that those soldiers abduct Perseus, who had thrown Zeus's statue into the seawater. They bring him into a palace where king and queen are celebrating it. That the statue of Zeus has been dropped into seawater by us. And we have triumphed. Human beings are superior. Their daughter princess says, coming there. It is unfair. We should not be selfish as such. Then Queen says to her, you know nothing. Then Hades appears there. Seeing him, Perseus cannot control his wrath. He lifts a sword to kill him. But a girl stops him, gripping his hand. Then it is observed that Hades kills Queen mysteriously, moving towards her. Then Hades talks to the people of the palace. He tells, there will be solar eclipse exactly after 10 days. And I will send a monster towards you. It will eradicate your whole city. But you have an option, as you can save the whole city while sacrificing the princess. Your whole city will be destroyed in case of not doing so. Now it is up to you what you do. He reveals a sensation there while going. He says to them, Perseus is also the part of God. So they imprison Perseus at a place. There is the same girl who had stopped him of killing Hades where he is imprisoned. She is charming and tells her name Lo. She asks him, do you want to know how did you come into being? How are you a part of gods? She begins to reveal an ancient story to him. She tells, there was a king who used to rule in the mountain area. Some gods wanted due to some causes, this king should be ended. Zeus was compassionate, so he did not want to implement it. He thought to resolve the matters, using another way. He changed king's wife into mother of his son. When king knew that he is an illegal son then, king throws the queen and his son into the sea, locking them into a coffin. But a lightning flashed with it and he himself lost his life. She further says, this is the cause that you are God along with the human being. She tells him, it was me who brought you to that fisherman. She tells, I was exactly the same as I am today. I am immortal and it is my curse. Perseus ensures those people, I can face those monsters. So he moves there with some of the men and military. It is revealed here that the king who had thrown Perseus into the sea is not dead but is distorted. And he looked heinous. Hades says to him, "Going there, now the time has approached, that you may avenge Perseus." Actually, Hades was self-obsessed, and he wanted to snatch the seat of Zeus as being mighty. Contrarily, it is seen that Perseus and some of the people are moving there. A man is training him in swordsmanship. Then Perseus finds out a sword in the forest, and it was by Zeus. But Perseus does not keep it but hands over to his trainer. There they observe the winged horse Lo tells, no one ever rode on them. Perseus is also tapping them. Then that distorted king arrives there. A hard fight starts there between them. That heinous king bruises Perseus after biting his hand. Military also approaches there and a great battle begins. They surround him, and Perseus's newly made friend detaches that heinous king's hand. Somehow, he runs away from them. His hand was bleeding. Giant scorpions were appearing where his blood was dropping, and they were equally attacking them. They were larger than human beings, so the military was finding difficulty to fight. A giant scorpion moves to Perseus to kill him. Then Perseus puts a shield before him while Lo cuts its leg, and it directs itself to Lo in rage. Then Perseus rescues Lo. Another soldier also ends the other scorpion. Meantime, more scorpions appear there. They begin to attack them. Then a group arrives there. Actually, it was a band of jinn. They stop all scorpions. Now it is witnessed that Perseus is paining because of that king's bite. He is shouting with pain. Then Jinn cures him through his magic. He says to him, "I will accompany you." Then they all together go to the witches. They visited witches, thinking it may be possible that they reveal about monsters to them. Contrarily, they attack them and does not tell anything. They were sightless, but had one eyeball which was placed outside separately. Taking the eyeball of them, Perseus threatens them to reveal everything to him. Being frightened, they tell Perseus, "There is one way to kill that monster. There is one thing that can help you to beat that down. And that thing is the head of Gorgon, Medusa's head. She will be found underworld, but it will not be child's play to beat her down." They tell here, "We know that you will play a losing game." Ignoring them, Perseus meets Zeus, coming back. Zeus hands him over a coin. Then he leaves from there. They reach the temple of Medusa while walking. A ship had to approach there to pick them up, which arrives with the help of that coin. Lo tells him in the ship, "Don't look into her eyes. Otherwise, you will be turned into stone." Medusa attacks them as they enter, and she begins to throw Perseus and Jinn into the fire. But Perseus rescues himself and Jinn while entrapping his sword somewhere. On the other side, Medusa was changing the military into the stones. Perseus was aware about it, so he attacks her, closing his eyes. He boldly confronts her, and he beheads her. Perseus was very excited after having the head of Medusa in his hand, as he is going to show to the people coming from temple. That heinous king kills Lo behind the scene. He says to his training, becoming an ignorant hear that, "Give me the given sword of Zeus." Then he fights with that heinous king, attaching with that sword. Then winged horse also appears there, and Perseus was the first one who rode on it. Riding it, he flies from there. Actually, he had gone to rescue that princess. Contrarily, Zeus is observed, who had regained the power after creating fear among people, and he had sent that monster there. He comes to know that Perseus is still alive, so he also departs to that place. The city people were already afraid, so they immediately brings princess here to sacrifice her when they know that monster had come there. On the other side, Perseus is seen who is coming here, taking her head. But some of Hades' creatures run away while snatching that head. Then Perseus pursues them. On the other side, it is seen that monster had created the commotion throughout the city. Those creatures shrewdly bring Perseus to that monster. so that they may eat him or kill. Being a wise man, Perseus rescues himself. He is flying after them on that winged horse and finally takes back that head. Now it is seen that monster appears in front of Princess when she's in hanging position. It is going to kill her, but instantly Perseus comes from the backside. He places the head of Medusa before that monster. Looking at Medusa's eyes, that monster starts turning into the stone. Here that monster had ended. But Hades had also arrived there. Perseus generates the lighting from the given sword of Zeus, and he attacks him with it. Because of it, Hades returns back to the underworld. But Princess also falls into the sea along with it. Perseus rescues the life of Princess, jumping into the sea. After a time, Perseus and that princess are seen lying on the seashore. They were lying unconscious at the seashore. At the same time, that winged horse restores their senses, coming there. Coming into senses, Princess is very impressed by Perseus. She says, "I liked you. So why do you not hold the seat of the king here?" He responds, "No. It cannot. I still need to go to Zeus." Congratulations for taking the seat of queen. Zeus also asks him to be god when he visits him. But he also refuses to accept it. Zeus reveals to him, Hades is still alive. As being weakened, he has transferred himself into the underworld. He is waiting for that time when the people will leave to worship God and he will get strength. The devils are strengthened when people are afraid of them. He tells, no human being could ever defeat him. But you are the one who knelt him down. And you have that magical sword and also that winged horse. I hand you over the third thing also. Saying it, Zeus is disappeared. Then Perseus encounters Lo. It means that Zeus had revived Lo for Perseus. And the movie also completes here. Now the part 2 of the Clash of Titans titled Wrath of Titans will be explained. It is shown at the start of the movie that Perseus has a little son. He does not want him to see a warrior or a competitor. But he wants to see him as a fisherman. It is also known why it is. Then the location changes, Perseus is observed sitting at a place. Then Zeus comes to meet him. He says to him, look, I had told you that I have a fear of one thing. One day, people will stop to adore the gods. Behold, it happened the same. This will strengthen Hades. Then there is little fuss as a small storm breaks out there. Perseus says to Zeus, it seems those walls of Tartarus are falling where the monsters are imprisoned. Then Zeus tells him, yes. All those monsters will come here if those walls of Tartarus are fallen down. Some of them have already been freed. He says, Kronos will be released if gods are ended. He was the father of Zeus. Zeus says, my son, I need your help in this matter. Perseus says, how can I help you? You may go from here. Then it is observed that Zeus, with his two companions, moved to the underworld to meet Hades. He tells, we want to make strong of the surrounded walls of monsters. Zeus, men, comprises a man and that man's son. That man's son becomes the partner of Hades. And he imprisons his father and Zeus. They cannot repair that wall because they are here. So many monsters begin to appear from there, from where two-mouthed monster is also appeared. He attacks at that place where Perseus used to live. At that time, Perseus is fishing. He runs to save his son as he witnesses that monster has attacked there. Perseus fights that monster too much. In the end, he ends that monster. But Perseus had also been wounded bitterly in that battle. He goes to an old lady for the dressing of his wounds. That old lady says to him, you are the son of God. And you are turning your face when the people need you in their hard time. How wrong it is. Perseus tells her, I had given my words to my wife before her death that our son will not be a warrior. We will lead a peaceful life, keeping ourselves from every war. That old lady says, not now. Now your support is required more than anything in these wars. Perseus comes from there and climbs up a mountain, taking his son. There is an old temple of Zeus where no one used to visit for worshipping. This was the cause, God's power was weakening. Perseus misses his father Zeus there, as he may come to meet him. But he cannot approach there because of being imprisoned by Hades. There, an approaching man reveals to Perseus, "Someone has imprisoned your father." He was not anyone else but Hades and is one of the companions, and they are now subjugated by Kronos. It is only you who can rescue your father Zeus. Perseus is surprised, thinking, "How can I save God Zeus?" That man suggests him, "Go and meet my son." He also gives him a weapon, saying, "Hand it over to my son if it is possible. Remember, if he deserves it." Then he flies, turning himself into the dust. Perseus realizes here that he is only one who can rescue his father. Calling that winged horse, he flies to rescue that princess after leaving his son here, whose life was still at risk. The same princess who had been brought for sacrifice. Then Perseus moves to that boy whose father had asked him to meet a while ago. That boy says, "I do not want to meet you. Go away if you have come here with the reference of my father, because I have no affections for him." Perseus says, "Don't act as such, because he is no more." He says, "Do not make fun. You know, and I also have knowledge that gods are immortal. And my father was God." Perseus says to that boy, "Take me to that person who has much familiarity with the dwelling of monsters." He gets ready to lead him. Now the princess was also along with them. Princess asks Perseus, "Who is that person whom we are going to meet?" Perseus tells, he had knowledge of the monsters and he is also armorer of gods. He tells, "My sword has also been made by him." He tells that one more powerful weapon had been made with their made destructive tools, which had been used to end Kronos. They reach nearer to that place. There is a thick forest on the way before meeting that person. There were set traps in the surroundings of that forest. The accompanied boy with Perseus is caught with one of the traps. Suddenly, that boy is dragged by someone, so that boy begins to slip out from there. Perseus runs after him to rescue him, but notices that something is advancing towards him. Then a gigantic one-eyed creature appears before him. It was after Perseus. The princess and the warriors were attempting to kill it there, but it was mighty. Then Perseus appears and stands on the body of that creature, falling it down. He is also that weapon which was given to him before by the dying god. One-eyed other creatures had also appeared there. Observing that weapon in the possession of Perseus, all kneel down before him. Afterwards, they also release Perseus's companion, who was God's son. Then they move to that man, who reveals that the man accompanying Zeus has been killed by Hades. Kronos will come in case of the death of all gods. He tells, no one will be able to protect this humanity if he awakes at once. Perseus says, "You are armorer of gods, so they may kill those monsters. You will know it how they may be defeated." That man tells, "I was also a god at a time, but I had once helped out Hades. And all gods punished me while snatching my powers. Now I have no power. But I can forecast to an extent that if they have imprisoned Zeus, they have kept him in the surroundings of those monsters. So, Kronos may snatch his power from there." It is also shown in reality that the same happening is occurring with Zeus. He says, "It was me to construct that place where monsters are imprisoned." He tells, "I had also made an outside door while constructing it." Now they begin to go to that place together. Then that boy had also come there who had joined Hades. Hades kills all standing people there. But Perseus was feeling powerlessness to fight him. Contrarily, it is shown that old man had searched out that door, where the monsters were next to it. Now Princess, Perseus and his companion go towards that place. But the same devilish boy kills that old man there. They had also a man who had a map, because those walls of Tartarus were puzzling. And the man could tell authentically where the monsters actually are. now they head there. On the opposite side, it is seen that Zeus is talking with Hades. He says to Hades, "My brother, can you pardon me?" Hades asks, "For what?" Zeus says, "Because I sent you into underworld." He asks, "Why are you saying me right now?" Then Zeus says to him, "I exonerate you for what you did with me." They were talking with each other, sympathetically. Then that boy arrives there who had joined Hades before. He attacks Hades and Zeus immediately stops that boy. He says to him, "I will not let you to kill him." Here it is revealed to Hades that Zeus is really a very devoted and tender-hearted god. So he removes all grudges from his heart for Zeus. Now it is observed that a tough fight is held between Hades and that boy. And they are fallen down. Then Perseus, Princess and their companion also appear there. Zeus is chained there. So Perseus tries to release his father, going there. In fact, this was by Kronos, who was possessing all powers of Zeus. Perseus hardly releases his father. Then that boy also comes who had recently attacked Hades. He also advances to attack Zeus. At this time, Hades protects his brother Zeus while stopping him. Perseus still had that armor which was given to him before by the dying god. Stealing that weapon, that boy attacks on Zeus's back with it. That boy again advances to attack Zeus again. Then Zeus asks Perseus to give his own weapon. It means the same sword. Then they unite this weapon with Perseus's weapon, which creates a bright lighting and all are vanished from there. And they reach at that location where princess soldiers are present. Because there was also Kronos and that boy. Then Zeus is shown who had fatally fallen ill. Zeus asks Perseus, "How did you bring me from that place?" Perseus tells, "I was worried about my son, so this notion dragged me outside." Zeus says, "My son, use this strength of yours. Think about it and make you mighty once again. And make a marvelous weapon while uniting 3 weapons. You will be able to defeat Kronos with it." They had already 2 weapons. But that devilish boy still have Zeus's weapon. Then Perseus attempts to talk with that boy through his brain while thinking. He says, "Meet me in the temple if you think yourself stronger than me." Perseus reaches that temple and when that boy enters there. Then Perseus observes that his son is also with that boy. Perseus says to him, "You will never harm my son." That boy says, "Okay. I don't. But I want to tell you that." Which feelings is emerged when someone is taken away from his father. There is a hard fight between them. Then it is also seen that Kronos has come outside as being strongest. He had also other monsters and princess soldiers were losing their strength to fight with them. Then Zeus is shown who is in critical condition. At the same time, his brother Hades comes to him. And he whispers, "My brother, I forgave you." Saying it, he holds the hand of Zeus. Zeus was oldest, but he began to rejuvenate as Hades gripped his hand. Then they are united and say, "We will have to battle him together. We will have to beat Kronos down." Perseus says, "We have no weapon." Then Zeus says, "We used to utilize our powers before." Both go outside and struggles to confront Kronos. But it is observed, they lost that type of energy. Contrarily, Perseus is shown who is still battling with that boy. At last, he triumphs after killing him here. Now he had got that weapon which that boy possessed. Uniting 3 weapons, he makes a marvelous weapon. Then he calls his winged horse and flies towards Kronos. He tries his best to end him. Kronos was equally fighting him. The Perseus enters his mouth through his winged horse. And he comes outside after leaving that weapon into his mouth. There is great explosion in Kronos and he is eventually dead here. Now, Perseus meets Zeus. He says, "The growing power in you is due to your son. As you were my strength." Perseus says, "You may not be dead. Hades will save you." Just say to him. Then Zeus tells, he has already given his strength to me. And no more charm will work now. Our time is over. It was a good time which we passed. I heartily gratify you that you supported me. He loves him and changes into dust along with it. Hades says, coming to Perseus, I have also weakened too much now. He leaves from there. Then we notice that Perseus has visited that princess. Here it is revealed that they had begun to feel for each other. Then Perseus's son says to him, Father, let's go to house. We will catch many fish, going there. Perseus says, we will not go to house now. Take my sword. That sword is not lifted by that kid. He says, Father, it is too heavy. He says to his son, you are the son of Perseus and the grandson of Zeus. You can lift it. Lift it up. Perseus's son raises that sword. He says, Father, I can handle it. And the movie also completes with it.